my goodness, these are delicious, saucy, drippy, and wonderful. I started with ground chicken and I seasoned with salt and pepper. And I'm gonna add just a little melted butter and some Louisiana hot sauce, the stuff you'd use if you were making buffalo wings. I'm gonna go in with my hands. There's no better way. Ground chicken is such a great alternative to ground beef. Don't tell any rancher I said that. I love the texture of ground chicken. It's so soft and tender. Okay, I'm gonna divide this little pile in half and I'll make 2 equal-sized patties. When you're making buffalo chicken burgers, you don't wanna form teeny tiny thin patties. You really wanna make a nice, big, substantial one. Okay, I'm gonna get this into a skillet with a little vegetable oil in it. And I'll get the other one formed. While the burgers keep cooking away, I'm gonna whip up a really simple buffalo sauce. It's about 1/2 cup of melted butter, and I'll add the same amount of the hot sauce. I filled it a little bit full. I'm gonna try not to make a huge mess. I wanna stir this until it's totally mixed together and the butter isn't separated at all from the sauce. That looks great. Now I'm gonna flip the burgers. See how they look? Oh my goodness. Yum, yum. Now I wanna start this saucy process. So I'm gonna spoon a couple of spoonfuls of the sauce onto each burger. So while they cook on the other side, I'm gonna make a simple blue cheese dressing to go on the burgers. Started with about 1/2 cup of mayonnaise and the same amount of sour cream and about 1/4 cup of blue cheese crumbles. You can add more if you're a big blue cheese fan. Splash of vinegar and salt and pepper. Another quick way you can make blue cheese dressing is just to take a bottle of ranch dressing and add blue cheese crumbles. Don't think I haven't done that from time to time. All right, that is all mixed together. So now I'm gonna get some buns into a skillet to toast. I've been heating up an iron skillet and I'll get a little bit of butter going. Instead of plain buns, I thought it would be really delicious to use onion rolls. So I'll get those in. Oh my gosh, the other side of these burgers looks delicious. Now I'm gonna pour just a little bit more sauce on the other side. All right, I'm gonna let these keep cooking for a couple minutes. I'm gonna get some of this sauce. This sauce is getting a workout. I'm gonna pour a little bit on the bottom bun. Okie doke. Time for the burgers to go on. This is a burger fit for a teenage boy. Okay, now I'm gonna put all sorts of fun stuff on top. I've got some thinly sliced celery, and I'll drop a little on each burger. Okay, I'm gonna put a little bit of blue cheese dressing on each pile of celery, and then a little bit of extra blue cheese crumbles. Why not? Okay, I'm gonna put a little dressing on the buns, the top buns.
It's so sweet and so meaty, it's delicious. I'm gonna make lemony herb shrimp scampi. All right, Nancy, this is a super simple scampi, okay?
Okay.
Some butter. Now we're gonna add a little extra butter in this, okay? It's a scampi. You gotta get saucy. Some olive oil.
Oh my God, it's going to be so decadent. I can't wait.
All right, so to that pot, I've added some freshly minced garlic.
I love garlic. I love white wine.
Cook off a little bit of that white wine first, and then I'm going to add these beautiful, Nancy, this is gold in this bowl. I should be an ambassador for Carolina shrimp because it's so sweet and so meaty. It's delicious. And I'm just going to cook the shrimp until it turns pink in color.
And it will continue to cook. Once you take it off the heat, right? Because of that cast iron pan?
Absolutely.
And that's where people, I think, get in trouble. Because they cook it until it's done. They take it off. They don't put it in another container. They leave it in what they've cooked in. And by the time they get to the table, it's rubber.
Yep. So, Nancy, the next thing I want to do is add a little fresh herb, some red pepper in there, add that tomato, and I'm going to add a little lemon juice as well.
And there's flavor.
I'm going to add some fresh parsley. some fresh thyme, little crushed red pepper, and some fresh tomato.
That aroma. Oh,
All right, Nancy, you ready to eat?
I'm ready.
I was
Let's
hoping
go.
you said that.
Beans and greens, topped with a runny egg, served with a wedge of camembert. To start, I'm just removing the stems off of a bunch of kale. And I like a sturdier green with my beans because beans are mushy in a good way, but the sturdy green gives something to chew on, a little bit more texture. Chard is also really nice with beans. I'll set these aside and add a good drizzle of oil to my pan to make some garlic chips. I'll fry them for just a couple of minutes until they're toasted and crisp. They go pretty quickly since they're so thinly sliced. Being pregnant kind of eliminates a lot of the ways that you're able to eat eggs. Anytime there's a runny yolk, so soft-boiled eggs in a basket, the love of my life. I'm ready to reintroduce the runny yolk into my life. While these are still oily, I'll sprinkle them with a little salt and set them aside. Back in my pot, in this good garlicky infused oil, use it to cook up 1 yellow onion that's chopped. I'll chop up about 2 tablespoons worth of pickled peppers. Since beans are so creamy, they take well to some bright acidity. The rules of beans are similar to the rules of greens. You need something a little spicy, a little acidity, and lots of garlic, and then they'll be so good. I'll toss these in so that they can soften along with the onions. Add some of this brine. Never want to get rid of pickle brine. It's such a good ingredient for salad dressings, stews. Give this a stir. And now I can start to pile in my greens. Season with another pinch of salt. And then some water will help the greens continue to soften. So I'll pour in 1 cup of water and then wait until this kale makes room for the remaining ingredients. It's easy to eat so many greens when you cook them down like this. These greens have softened, they're nice and bright, they've made room for the beans. 2 cans of rinsed cannellini beans are so creamy and mild. And then some heavy cream for richness. And a dollop of Dijon mustard adds that nice zing. Okay, I'll stir this around. I'll season with another good pinch of salt and some black pepper. And just allow all of these flavors to meld and come together. This can simmer for a few minutes. It can simmer for an hour. So this is another reason why I love making beans and greens, because if Nick is out in the field and has no idea when he's gonna be done at the end of his day, these can just keep on the stove warm until he gets home. I'm just looking for this liquid to thicken slightly and become saucy. I just want everything to mush together and hug each other and become friends. Okay, this is looking saucy and wilty and good. I'll remove it from the heat and finish it with that squeeze of lemon. Both beans and greens love lemon. And it's important to add it at the end because if you simmer it for too long, it could kind of taste bitter. Okay, time to plate it up with all of its accessories. Plop of beans. I want to make sure to get some of that creamy sauce at the bottom. I'll nestle in a few more peppers. Sprinkle on garlic chips. Get my soft-boiled eggs here. These have been boiled for 6 minutes, meaning they'll be super yolky. Oh, how I missed a runny yolk while pregnant. Sprinkle with a good pinch of flaky salt, some black pepper, nestle in some toast. And then the only thing better than scooping beans up onto buttery toast is scooping beans up onto buttery toast that also has a layer of camembert smeared onto it. So camembert is a creamy cheese. It's kind of like brie, but earthier and slightly funkier. What kind of cheese do you use to lure a bear out of a tree? Come on, bear. I'll leave the dad jokes to Nick. Okay, I'm too tempted. Egg yolk break. Oh, look at that, look at that, look at that. Oh, that's such a pretty orange yolk. Chickens are happy right now. And then scoop up a little bit of everything. Okay, this is best eaten in pretty big sloppy bites. Wish me luck. I'm getting the funky camembert, that perfect egg yolk, the little bit of spiciness and the kale and beans. Oh, I've missed you.
One of our all-time favorite ways to cook is easy as a cheat sheet.
Oh, yes.
A cheat sheet means all the ingredients are cooked together on one sheet tray. And Jeff, our sheet tray expert, is leading us off. What do you have there, young man?
Well, I am making a very quick and easy and crispy, believe it or not, eggplant Parmesan cheat sheet.
What?
Yes, I deconstructed this. So starting with, of course, eggplant, right? So right now I have a sheet pan in a screaming hot oven, about 450. It's been sitting there for a while. I'm trying to like kind of fry in the sheet, so we're gonna leave that in there nice and plain.
Yep.
We'll get to that in a second. Right now we're gonna peel it, because sometimes with eggplant parm, you take a bite with the skin on and it's a little tough. So we want this kind of nice smooth bites. About, you know, 1/4 inch slices of that eggplant, just like this. We're no need to salt this, pre-salt this, because we're just gonna work quickly and make this as easy as possible for you people. So we take our eggplant and right into the egg wash right here, right? So just one side though.
Oh.
So I have some nice seasoned panko breadcrumbs. So we'll keep that here for a while. And we're gonna grate some fresh Parmesan on here. You don't want to, salt and pepper's in there, just salt and pepper, whatever. A little granulated garlic if you want to experiment, a little dried Italian seasoning. We take our, just one side with the egg wash, right? Right into the panko and cheese mixture, right? Get a nice little boom. And then there we go. So we repeat with all these. Beautiful with the cheese. Let me get this out of the way. So I got my favorite, you know, just red sauce, marinara sauce here. If you want to go to the jarred stuff, that's fine. And some deli sliced mozzarella slices.
This is crazy.
All right, so right now you bump down the oven back down to 350, okay? Because that's what we're gonna cook it at.
I think the number 1 thing that people have issue with eggplant is getting it crispy and not soggy. So
Exactly.
I'm excited about this.
And how does one do that without having to fry individual pieces, stink up your kitchen, mess up your kitchen? So a decent amount of oil, and now we're gonna take that beautifully breaded eggplant right in there. And we're gonna work very quickly, right? We want that residual heat and heat up the oil and start frying that eggplant essentially from the bottom. Nice, not cold, but kind of just a little bit in the middle like that. Almost like you're making a pizza. Working quick, right?
You can put it on a hoagie roll too.
Oh my God, how good would that be? Or stack it up. And then we got our sheets of, you know, our nice slices. This is why we did this, right? It's a little more even. And what I don't mind is a little overhang. So this is going back into the oven, right? 350 here. It's going on the bottom rack. Remember, we lowered the oven down from 500 to 350, and it's going on the bottom so the bottom can crisp up and the top can properly melt evenly. Here I have some, oh my heavens.
Oh my
Ready
goodness.
to go.
This looks good.
And look at that.
Oh.
Look at
yeah.
that.
This is not the mama's eggplant parmesan.
Yes.
This is very different.
What a good idea that was.
So we cooked that at 350 for about 10-15 minutes.
You have to basil it, you know? Right?
Yeah.
So I've got mushrooms, yellow squash, red onion, and asparagus. And I'm drizzling with olive oil. I'm gonna grab salt and pepper. You know the drill. And then I've got some Italian seasoning, which is also kind of like Mediterranean seasoning, depending on what's in it. The bottle actually said Mediterranean/Italian seasoning. So they're not exactly the same, but there's a lot of overlap. All right, and then I'm gonna use tongs just to stir everything together. So I scooted them all over to one side. And now I've got some colossal shrimp, which is actually known as U15 shrimp, meaning there are under 15 shrimp per pound. And spreading them out, and then I'm actually gonna sprinkle just a little bit of salt and pepper on the shrimp. But this is basically the beginning of the recipe, and it's gonna get more interesting from here. A little bit more Mediterranean seasoning. And then let's go get this pan in the oven, Paigey. So this is gonna go in a 425-degree oven for about 15 minutes or so. And when I put these in, I'm also gonna add some pita that I have wrapped in foil, and it's gonna warm at the same time everything else cooks. All right, All right, while the shrimp and veggies finish cooking, I'm gonna make a delicious lemony yogurt sauce for the pitas. So it starts with yogurt, plain Greek yogurt to be exact. All right, so lemon juice and then a whole bunch of lemon zest. This is very lemony. And some fresh dill chopped. So Paige, look at this. Can you wrap your head around this or what? Isn't that pretty? Okay, and then a little bit of salt and pepper. And give it one more stir. And then, you know what time it is, Paige? Let's go get the shrimp and veggies out of the oven. And the pita, we can't forget the pita. All right, check it out. Ooh, that looks so good. And I'm gonna grab the pita bread, which is nice and warm and soft by now. Boy, it smells good in this kitchen. I love food like this, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Look at this.
Those
Okay.
shrimp are huge.
I have a lot of things going on. Well, it's colossal shrimp, hello. All right, so I've got some more lemon and I'm gonna squeeze it over the shrimp and the veggies and stir with tongs. And there's some juice in the bottom of the pan and that's just perfect because it makes everything just much more delicious and succulent. And then everybody can build their own and this is how you build it. Woo, warm. So I've got this delicious lemony yogurt sauce. So I'll put a nice, generous quantity in the warm pita, and then a couple of pieces of lettuce, and some tomato. Just shove in there as much as you can. And then I'm gonna start with veggies first, and then a couple of these massive shrimp. I've never seen anything like this. They're big and beautiful and shrimpy.
Big, beautiful, and shrimpy.
And then feta. I love the combination of the roasted veggies, the cooked shrimp, the cool feta, and the sliced mixed olives. And then you've got that lemony yogurt down inside. Oh, Mom! I had to. I'm sorry. Ooh, that is really good. Great combination of ingredients.
Two beautiful center cuts of salmon here. I'm gonna make this molasses soy glaze. It's kind of a combination of like my southern roots and mixing it up with a little Asian flair. I'm gonna add sesame oil, kind of going along with that Asian theme here. Fish sauce. If you've never worked with it, use a little at a time. Rice wine vinegar is gonna add a little bit of tartness to that. Honey. Between the molasses and the honey, you're gonna get a really nice glaze on top of that salmon. I'm using 2 cloves of garlic, but I'm also gonna add ginger. I'm peeling the skin with a spoon. Nice little trick I've learned over the years, and I like a lot of gingers. Give it a little mix. All right. And I'm only cooking it till it comes to a slight boil. Then I'm gonna leave it on low until it's time to glaze the salmon. Got my salmon here. Let me give it a little salt on top. And I'm using salmon that has the skin on. Add my sesame oil. It's gonna give you a really, really nice nutty flavor. Make sure that gets nice and hot. Salmon doesn't take long at all to cook. I would say about 3 to 4 minutes on each side. Once it turns this pale pink here at the bottom, you know that that side has started to cook, so it means you can flip it over at this time. Look how crispy that is. That's what I'm talking about. Leave that skin on. A little salt to that, a little pepper. Now I wanna work with my glaze. Brush that on there. And because I wanna create a sauce too, pour a little right in here. It's gonna seep in the bottom there. What I like to do at this point, because it doesn't take long at all on this side to sear, I flip it back over and let it continue to cook from the skin side. I can tell if the salmon is cooked by pressing onto it. The firmer it is, the more that you know that it's cooked in the inside. And my salmon is done. while it's nice and hot. There you go.
Taco chicken Caesar salad wrap. It is a delightful mashup of two delicious things, and it's really, really easy to pull together. I just grated a bunch of Parmesan. Now I'll get started on the chicken for the wrap. I've got a pretty hot skillet, and I'll add a good amount of olive oil. I've got some diced chicken breast, just enough for 2 wraps. I'm making one for myself along with Paige. Hey, if I'm gonna go to the trouble, I might as well make myself one too. I'll sprinkle on salt and pepper. Now to the chicken, I'm gonna add some taco flavors. About 2 teaspoons of chili powder, a teaspoon of paprika, and a teaspoon of ground cumin. Now I'm just gonna stir it up and make sure the spices, the oil, and the chicken are all mixed together. I'm gonna make the dressing for the wraps. It's a quick Caesar dressing with a little bit of a taco spin. Start with some mayonnaise. I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it, probably about ½ a cup. And some Dijon. I really like quick Caesar dressings. When I make Caesar dressing from scratch, it's a little bit of a lengthy process of the garlic and the anchovies. It takes a little bit more time. Some Worcestershire sauce and some garlic salt. No peeling and chopping of cloves. Good little time saver. Now for the taco component, I'm gonna add a good spoonful of adobo sauce from a can of chipotle peppers. Oh, why not another little spoonful? And then I'll stir this together. You can make a really big batch. It keeps nice in the fridge. Now I'm gonna chop up some romaine lettuce, which of course is a nod to the Caesar component of this salad. I'm just gonna put the lettuce straight into the dressing bowl. And then I'll use tongs to start tossing it a bit. Now here's where some of the Parmesan comes in. You can also make the dressing in a blender and add the Parmesan there, and it just sort of breaks it all up and the Parmesan becomes one with the dressing. That is delicious too. Okay, I've got 2 big flour tortillas, and I'll start by adding a whole bunch of the salad. I'm gonna leave a little bit of a gap on top and then really load it up. Now I'm gonna add some cheddar cheese. This is for the taco salad side of things. And I have some beautiful halved grape tomatoes. The point is to add so much to the wrap that you're almost afraid it won't close. Then you know it's gonna be good. Okay, I'm gonna check on the chicken. It looks absolutely fantastic. So I'll spoon it on. I'm gonna sprinkle on a little more Parmesan. I mean, you don't know whether it's a taco salad or a chicken Caesar salad, and that's exactly what my plan was. Now I am going to attempt to roll this up. I'll tuck in the bottom so everything won't fall out, and then I'll just fold the 2 sides over as tight as I can, and then I'll start with a little piece of paper just to make it easy for Paige to eat on the run. I'll wrap it with a little bit sticking out. To be safe, I'll roll this whole thing up in foil. So easy.
Some people think that they hate tofu, which makes no sense to me, but this is the dish that will convert any non-believer. The dish is a love letter to Szechuan cuisine, and it's silken tofu, which is super soft and melds together with a lot of flavors. Combined with ground meat, it creates a spicy, comforting stew over a bowl of rice. What's happening, guys? I am Jet Tila, and this is Ready Jet Cook, where I show you how to make my favorite Asian dishes from pantry to plate. Let's get started. It's important for me to show you how to cook these dishes in real time. Instead of kind of like presetting all these bowls and all these ingredients and then going for it, I'm gonna show you how I do it at home. So getting the pan preheated is the first thing, and I'm gonna go for my aromatics. Now, ginger and garlic are always going to be your classic Chinese aromatics. I'm not a believer in having to peel ginger. You're not gonna taste the little bit of ginger skin on here. So what I'm gonna do is just cut them into very thin strips. I'm gonna cut those perpendicular now into 1/8-inch pieces. And that to me is minced ginger. So very, very simple. All right, now with ginger out of the way, garlic. I found a new way to do garlic. Everyone's got one of these at home. Just a nice bowl, y'all, and just smash. Look at that. So this does 90% of the work. And then what I'm gonna do now is just take my knife and do a very clean 1/8-inch pass. And that's it. Do not mess with garlic more than that for the Asian kitchen. Let's focus on getting all this hot and sizzling. Our pan has been preheating. I'm always using a neutral, high temperature oil, peanut, canola. Let's get those aromatics in. All right, so I don't have my heat cranked to 11 because I still need some really important ingredients in the pantry. I'm grabbing black beans in 2 forms, and I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. Szechuan peppercorn and magical, mystical doubanjiang. It's an ingredient you must learn if you're going to master Szechuan cuisine. We need to bloom these spices, and the first spice you need to learn is Szechuan peppercorn. In this form, it's not easy to cook with, so you can buy it either whole or buy it ground. We're using the ground here, all right? So I'm gonna put a little bit into the pan to start it blooming. Just like Indian or Thai or other cuisines, bloom your spices in the heat. It is numbing and it is hot. So taste it before you cook with it. Use the smaller amount in the recipe before you just go, yo, I love hot and I love numbing. Let's look inside the pan here. Ginger and garlic are brown. I'm getting a very kind of beautiful bloomed floral spice out of this. And now the next thing we're gonna do is add some ground beef. Beef is the classic interpretation. You've seen a lot of recipes out there using pork. It's totally up to you. I'm just trying to keep this one authentic. So my goal here is just to get that beef cooked through about 90%, let it brown. It's gonna add a lot of flavor. Okay, it's time to talk about black beans. These are Chinese fermented black beans. You take black beans, you add salt, and you ferment them down, and that fermentation releases a ton of umami. They're also processed to make a black bean sauce. Black beans are really the core of most Asian cuisine. I'm looking into the pan. The meat is mostly cooked through. All those spices and black beans, none of it's sticking to the pan. This is when I'm gonna start to build my base, my liquid base. It's gonna be like a stew that I'm gonna thicken down. It's smelling so good in here. Another ingredient you need to know, doubanjiang, Szechuan fermented broad bean chili sauce. So instead of fermenting black beans, they're fermenting a bean that looks very similar to a fava bean, and that bean creates another fermented funk. They add chili, they add garlic to that, and if you've had chili garlic sauce or gochujang, this is a whole nother level. So I'm gonna roll that in there, and I'm just gonna start building more flavors. I'm gonna add a thin soy sauce, also known as superior soy sauce. This is basically Chinese all-purpose soy sauce. This is a very important ingredient. This is sweet soy or dark soy. You know, chicken powder is a quintessential ingredient for umami. Next, I need to balance all that umami and salt with a little bit of sweetness. So now I'm gonna increase the volume of liquid without adding any more seasoning, and I'm just doing water. So the combination of chicken powder and water creates chicken stock. If you wanted to just sub that out with straight chicken stock, that would work too. So we've created this delicious kind of broth with the chilies and the spices and the ground beef. It's time to address our tofu. Fun fact, Mapo tofu origin story. Mapo is affectionately a pockmarked grandmother or auntie, and she makes this famous tofu dish. Look it up. I know I didn't make that up. Tofu and cheese are made exactly the same way. With cheese, you take milk and you create curds and you push those curds into cheese. Tofu's made exactly the same. You take soy milk and you create the curds. How much you smash that curd and how dense it is determines what kind of tofu. This is called silken tofu, so it means it's very, very soft. I've cut it into blocks, and I'm gonna take these blocks now, cut them into perfect cubes. As the tofu is taking a beautiful bath in that spicy, savory broth, I'm gonna cut some scallions. If you've cut with me before, I take away the roots, I take away a little bit of the tips there. The big question I get is, Jet, do I use the whites or the greens? Use it all. So I basically cut them in half. I put a little bias on it, and I'm just slicing through and creating a little bias cut. All right, to thicken our Mapo tofu, we're just gonna make a simple slurry, and all that is equal parts cornstarch, arrowroot or tapioca starch into water. You can't throw cornstarch straight into hot liquid because it'll immediately seize up and create little dumplings, and that will not achieve the desired effect. What we're doing is we're creating a slurry first, and then we're introducing the slurry into the sauce at 180 degrees. That cornstarch starts to activate, and check it out, it's already starting to pull together. And it does what we call gelatinizing, and that thin soup has now become a beautiful thick stew. That's it right there. This is your last chance to check your flavors. Just do a quick taste, because once this plate goes out, you're gonna be judged, and either it's gonna be a good judging or a bad judging. Savoriness, spiciness, just a little round of sweetness. Oh man, that numbing spice is such a unique feeling. Put some scallions on that. That is it right there. It's like lava. I mean, it is hot, so let me cool that off a little bit. The richness of the beef, the heat, the acid, the spice, and then that silky tofu really is that perfect combination. I'm serving this with white rice, but it really goes well with brown as well. You can also just throw this over a plate of beautifully cooked noodles. It is amazing. I hope you've learned a lot about Szechuan food. Go forth, make lots of Mapo tofu, and we'll see you guys next time on Ready, Jet, Cook.
Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a grilled tomatillo salsa. We're gonna grill all the ingredients. We have some red onions, some tomatillos. They look like green tomatoes, but in fact, they're not. They're actually in the gooseberry family. You wanna take the husk off, and that's what you have. And it's really like a giant gooseberry. Here, look inside. Okay, so we're going to put all these in a bowl with some serrano chilies and even a little garlic, a little oil, salt and pepper. Mix them together. Let's get them on the grill. Even the garlic, just a little grill flavor. All right, we'll keep an eye on those. There you go. Let's check out my vegetables over here. All right, that looks good. See a nice char in the tomatillos. And this is really gonna give it a really nice fire roasted flavor. Turn the onions over here. Then what I'm gonna do, just cook them in a pan a little bit more, all these ingredients. Now we're making a salsa, so we're gonna need oil anyway, so we're just gonna put a little more oil in there. And we'll let that cook. All right. Now we can make our salsa. Tomatillos, the onion, garlic, and the chilies. Lime juice. Let's give this a whirl in the blender. All right, so we want a lot of cilantro for this. We want this to be green. Just a touch of olive oil. Hot. A little bit of honey. Now we have salsa verde. right, got my salsa verde. So let's shred the rest of this chicken for our tacos. Okay, now it's a little cooler, it just comes away much easier. Also, it hurts less. So we have our chicken. We're gonna put some fresh cilantro on the plate. And then we're going to serve it with some queso fresco, which is like a fresh Mexican-style cheese. It doesn't have a lot of flavor, but that's okay, because we have the grilled tomatillo salsa, which is gonna have tons of flavor, very spicy. And this is really gonna be sort of make your own kind of thing. Put the tomatillo salsa there. We have two kinds of tortillas. These are flour tortillas, and actually these are made with red chilies in them. And these are blue corn tortillas. Blue corn is probably my favorite ingredient. Flour tortillas you can just sort of throw on the grill, but be careful, they go fast. Now the corn tortillas, because they're a little bit firmer, what I like to do is just run them under water for a second, give it some moisture, and then put them on the grill. And the water will evaporate. Smell that. Bring over the tacos. Fresh cilantro. Queso fresco. The grilled tomatillo salsa. And the chicken salad. Ready to eat. All right, let's make a taco. It's always important to try out things before your friends come over. Take a little blue corn tortilla, a little bit of chicken, some grilled tomatillo salsa, a little queso fresco, and a sprig of cilantro. Blue corn is the way to go.
Beef, bean, and veggie burgers.
Ooh,
okay?
Oh, I love it.
I'm in. This is really delicious. So I'm using some lean ground beef here. Use oats and just put them in your food processor. Pulse them up till they get to a breadcrumb consistency. Here in the pan, I'm putting my broccoli in, my carrots. Yeah, you can put it right in there with the meat. My onions, some jalapenos. So you just want to cook this until the water comes out of it. Add some chili powder, garlic powder, some cumin. So you just stir that in. It doesn't need long. And then I'm gonna transfer it right on over to my meat. So let's add to this some beans. And I pulse those a couple times. An egg to hold it all together.
It's almost a veggie burger.
Worcestershire sauce. Some salt goes in, some pepper. Just get in there, mix it all together. Make these into patties. And then I'm gonna do them in the same skillet that I sauteed those veggies. About 3 minutes per side.
It's delicious. You have got to try this. I'm looking at my fingers.
It's like 3 or 4 different mashups going on there, but I love lettuce wraps because they eliminate the bread from any situation, but also just using mushrooms instead of the beef for the cheesesteak part of it is kind of a triumph. I think mushrooms are kind of downright meaty when you cook them a certain way. Don't tell any cattle rancher in Osage County that I said that. It'll be our little secret. So I just sliced some portobello mushrooms and I had scraped the gills out with a spoon beforehand. So I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of soy sauce. Soy sauce is so good with mushrooms. And then a couple of tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. So it kind of helps the mushrooms get that sort of meaty, steaky quality. And then some garlic powder and oregano. Delicious. And then I'm not gonna add salt because there's soy sauce, but I am gonna add plenty of pepper. So I will give this a quick stir. And then I'm gonna put the mushrooms in and just get them all kind of tossed and coated. Okay, so I've got a skillet and I've been heating it up. I'm gonna add just about a tablespoon of olive oil, so not much. I'm not afraid of olive oil when it comes to lightening up recipes. I don't think of it as sort of a heavy ingredient at all. So I'm gonna add the mushrooms. Woo, that was hot. And then I also have some sliced onion, lots of onion, and some sliced red bell pepper. Oh, it smells so good already. How is that possible? That was like seconds after it hit the skillet. I'm gonna cook this for 10 minutes until everything is soft and the moisture from the mushrooms has all given off. Stay tuned. Alex, slowly come in here and look at this. I just want you to savor. I mean, this is so beautiful. Those onions are so caramelized, and the depth of color in this skillet is just a beautiful thing to behold. So, these are cheesesteaks. I'm not gonna lighten things up in that regard. Instead of like a processed cheese sauce, I'm doing provolone, which is kind of a relatively good cheese when you wanna lighten things up a little bit. So I'm just laying the provolone on top of the whole mixture in the skillet, and I'm gonna put the lid on and just let this slowly melt for a couple of minutes, and then I'll come back and show you how the magic is gonna unfold. Okay, I'd say that cheese is melted. What do you think, Alex? Wow. Ooh, that looks amazing. So all I'm gonna do is just stir the cheese in with the portobellos and the onions and the peppers, and it's basically a complete and total mess inside of this pan. And that's what cheesesteaks are all about, whether they're made with mushrooms or beef. So I've got some butter lettuce cups or Bibb lettuce cups, and I'm just gonna spoon the glorious mixture into each cup. Cheese is gonna go everywhere. You will think you're in a cheese nightmare because you won't be able to get away from it. Wow, oh wow. Okay, what do you think, Alex and Stu?
Those look really good. I'm surprised.
They look fantastically delicious, don't they?
It looks like steak, kind of.
That's the whole point. Mushroom cheesesteak lettuce wraps. Ah, I've got to taste a bite. Don't tell anyone. Oh, wow. What can I say? These are amazing.
Roasted salmon with sweet potatoes and crispy broccolini. So broccolini, first of all, is Chinese broccoli and broccoli.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So I love it, and you just cut it up like this, put it in a bowl. This is raw. You don't have to blanch it. I think I like it better than broccoli. It's easier, and it's a little easy to chew. And I'm going to show you a trick for easy sweet potato wedges. So I have some sweet potato in a microwave for about 2 minutes.
What?
Just to lightly soften them up.
Did you prick them or anything?
No pricking.
Okay.
Okay. And they're still raw in the center.
Yes.
And then we take one of these suckers. You know what this is, right?
That is called a apple core wedger.
You ready?
Apple segment.
Look at that.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
They
Jeffers.
make nice wedges like that. And
That's a nice little time saver.
this I say for the dog, because dogs, this is very good for dogs.
It is good.
Well,
we
give
give
it to
JoJo and
Gus,
Pino.
Pete.
Gus can have that,
Yeah,
right?
they love sweet potatoes.
Listen, if you do want to feed your dog little leftover pieces of sweet potato, make sure that they're fully cooked, okay?
Exactly.
True, yes.
Okay, so
Lost
Jeff,
that.
you're gonna help
Yes.
me by picking some cilantro
Sounds fun.
and slicing some scallions really.
They're really thin? All right, Coach, you got it.
Sweet.
Whatever you need
ready?
today.
Okay, so we're gonna get a sheet pan. So we have salmon, sweet potatoes, and veggies. So this veggie can be basically whatever you want it to be. We have chosen these three. So I'm gonna put it all in the bowl. So I'm gonna put this in the bowl. Onions.
Oh, yeah, GZ, what kind of salmon is that?
This is farm-raised salmon.
Love it.
Really beautiful. And you wanna make sure they're all cut about the same way without the skin. This particular dish doesn't have skin. If I had a hot pan or a cast iron pan,
Yeah, you
I
crisp
would
it
put
up.
skin, but not this one. Okay, so in the bowl, I have a little. Oh,
What is
smell
that?
This is amazing.
What is it?
Oh, come on.
I have a feeling you smell it because you don't know what it is either.
Come on, let's see.
Who can guess?
That's what he
Begins with an
usually
L.
does.
Oh, lavender.
It's a little lavender.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Herb de Provence. I was
Herb
gonna
de
say it's very
Provence, but there's a
Provence-y.
lot of lavender in Herb de Provence.
You
I
are
just really love
so,
it, right?
you are so like awesome. everything you
Some
do.
extra virgin olive oil.
Herb de Provence, it also has basil, fennel,
good, yeah.
marjoram.
Love it. Okay, a good amount of salt and pepper.
Did you know that lavender in your yard gets the mosquitoes away a lot?
Is it really?
Please,
Yeah,
anything for that.
I always cross-plant lavender around the front door and the back porch.
So believe it or not, we're almost done. So we're just gonna toss this in this bowl. And we're gonna go to our oven, and what I have in the oven's at 400 degrees, and I put a sheet pan in the oven, which we do a lot around here. We preheat the sheet pan with some aluminum foil on it, so that there's less cleanup,
Okay.
okay?
Non-stick aluminum foil?
So you're not using this sheet pan
I've
here,
never
'cause
heard
that's
of
just to hold
non-stick
the
aluminum
salmon.
foil.
It's
Is there
awesome.
such a thing?
It's everywhere. They've got store brand now and everything, and it's
Yeah,
just
watch out,
really a
Jeff,
time
that's
saver
hot.
in the kitchen.
Oh,
So I'm just dumping this, look at this. So it's already seasoned, right? Salt and pepper, you hear the sizzle?
I love it.
Right?
I'm having a Pavlov's response, like a dog.
I got excited.
We're taking the salmon, we're putting it right on top of the vegetables.
This is so smart.
Simple, right?
This guy, you are like, this is very, I mean, you used a microwave, first of all,
Yeah, this is different.
and then you wedged a
little-
whole sweet potato. I mean, you're really doing a lot.
A little olive oil,
Very good.
salt and pepper, and we're good to go. It's gonna go in the oven for about 15
Is
minutes.
that wine there? What's
Yes, it's a little wine, don't worry.
I saw wine and I wanted it.
We have that icing as we speak. We're gonna put a little wine on this. What this does is help
Steam?
steam it just a bit, add some moisture, and get the vegetables cooked at the same time.
Oh, it's still snizzling.
What kind of wine?
White wine,
matter.
Sancerre, Chardonnay, something you would drink.
Okay.
Okay, in the oven,
So from the box.
400 degrees, about 10 to 15 minutes. Watch it, don't overcook salmon. There's nothing worse than overcooked salmon.
No me gusta.
Here we go. Oh,
Got everything right in front of me here to clean up.
okay, look at that.
Oh,
Isn't
man.
that just gorge?
yeah.
Is that gorge?
It's pretty.
Okay. Now comes the fun part. So who's tasting this?
Daddy Geoffrey.
You're tasting?
Yep.
This is my kind of meal. I love
So
this.
there's
I'm
no,
making it.
there's no fuss to this. You just want to put it on the plate. Okay.
You say there's no fuss, but there's something about your hands and the connectivity between your hands and your brain that make everything look really good, GZ.
Love lemon juice on everything, just about. And just to finish, for some extra crunch, some scallion and some cilantro.
All right.
And then you have my
Very
cheat
healthy
sheet
too, man. That's it.
salmon
Notes.
with roasted vegetables. Bon
That
appetit.
baby around.
All right.
That's beautiful.
I'm just get after that salmon right quick. Oh yeah. Ooh.
Yeah?
Like a hot knife through hot salmon.
Pilot high, GZ. See, you
Wow.
just gave us 2 ways to plate it. I really like that way, too.
It's all about that. So you can see the inside of that salmon is like perfectly medium too, but the vegetables surrounding it are crisp but soft when they need to be. Like that sweet potato is like perfectly yielding and everything. We got a little edge to it, so you get a little crunch on there. The broccolini, you're right. It's like the best. It's like super textured broccoli. And a little milder, awesome. That squeeze of lemon is key at the end there, and all the fresh herbs in there, the scallions. This is awesome.
Bruschetta chicken or bruschetta chicken, however you pronounce bruschetta. And I am very excited about this. Now, before I get too far, I do want to say that I have some free ingredients. And the free ingredients are like olive oil, salt, pepper. So you can't hold those ingredients against me. You have to have some freebies that are sort of staples for every recipe. So I've got some crusty Italian bread, and I cut it into a pretty fine dice. And I basically want to make a skillet chicken dish that is like bruschetta or bruschetta appetizer. I'm gonna cook some chicken, put a tomato mixture on top, and I'm gonna put some little pieces of bread in the tomato mixture. You got that, Todd?
Yes,
Are you confused yet?
a little bit.
That was a lot. So I tossed the bread in olive oil, salt, and pepper, and the bread is one of the 5 ingredients. So Paige, come around, and I'm gonna put this into a 375-degree oven. So while the bread toasts in the oven, I am going to get started on the chicken. I'm gonna get some olive oil into the pan. Again, this is one of my free ingredients. Please don't hold it against me. Don't penalize me. And I'm gonna season both sides of these 6 chicken cutlets So the bread is the first ingredient. The chicken is the second ingredient. I've only got 3 left. Okay, and I'll get the chicken in the skillet. Little tight squeeze, but that's okay. I'll sprinkle on salt and pepper. How are you guys today? We've been cooking a lot together lately, and I wanted to put a little spin on today's recipes just to keep things fresh and unpredictable. I don't want Todd getting too comfortable in his new role as cameraman. Okay, the chicken looks great, so I'm gonna let it keep cooking, and I'll get started on the tomato mixture. So my third ingredient, diced tomatoes. Okay, and then I'm gonna press in some garlic. Todd, would you say garlic is a free ingredient?
No.
Yes. Oh, wrong answer, son.
It's not, though.
It is. Garlic
It's really
is.
not.
Garlic is a staple, just like salt, pepper, olive oil, garlic. You keep garlic in the pantry. It's a freebie. So I just pressed in 2 cloves of garlic. I want the tomato mixture to be nice and garlicky. And the next ingredient is fresh basil. Fresh basil is not a free ingredient by any means. It's very precious to me. I love fresh basil so much. So I'm gonna pick off some leaves. But basically you wanna just roll them up and cut them really thin. So the basil goes into the tomatoes. And I am also gonna add some balsamic. And then the 5th ingredient is balsamic glaze. And I'm just gonna add about a tablespoon to the tomato mixture. See that, Paige? Oh, it's so more. I might add just a little bit more balsamic glaze like Paige told me to. So I like to do what Paige tells me to do everyone. Ah! What is your problem? You did not even indicate that he was behind me. I mean, honey, well, I don't even know anymore.
Just and good looking.
Oh, okay, I'll take that. I'm making bruschetta chicken.
Bruschetta chicken.
Yep. So I turned the chicken over in the skillet, and I'm gonna finish cooking it on the second side. My heart is just racing. Thanks a lot, honey.
Just check it. Make sure you're in
Let's go
good
get
health.
the bread. Oh, my husband likes to scare me. Okay. Oh, Paigey, look at this bread. So you really want them to be crispy because I am going to mix them with the tomato mixture. So look at this. Just spill them all in there. And this is something that you definitely want to do at the last minute. After about 15 minutes, the little bread chunks will start to get a little bit soggy as they soak up the liquid in the tomatoes. How did this happen? Lad Drummond showed up just in time for the food to be done. So now,
Good timing. Good planning.
I've got a pretty white platter. The chicken is done, and they cook really, really fast. So if you're trying to get food on the table for a bunch of hungry family members, which is like every day of my life, chicken cutlets are great.
Twice or 3 times a day.
It's true. But you know what? That's the life I have chosen.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, so now look at this, guys. Just kind of spoon the tomato bread basil mixture over each chicken piece. Look at this, Paige. Isn't it pretty? I really want to cover them up. Just let it go all over the sides. And then, this is my favorite part. Balsamic glaze again. And then you just kind of go back and forth. And look how pretty that makes it. Isn't that gorgeous? I love this because it's almost like paint and you can sort of decorate a platter and then just get, are you with me?
You already have green in it. This is a little over.
There is no such thing as overkill when it comes to decorating a plate. I'll just keep going.
It looks pretty cool, though.
Thank you. I think it looks great. So, bruschetta chicken. It was so easy. It only took 5 ingredients. I think this is gonna go on the rotation permanently. Extra basil for Lad, though.
Classic fettuccine Alfredo.
Classic.
Classic. So I got my water boiling. Katie, I need you to grate like a lot.
Okay.
All right, we need at least 3/4 of a cup, up to a cup of that Parm, fresh grated Parmigiano Reggiano, and of course cream, which I'm gonna do because that's what we're all used to. We're gonna start with 1 cup of heavy cream. We're gonna turn on our heat now, nice and gently. To this, we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of butter. And we're gonna let this reduce, concentrating that beautiful dairy, fat, that creamy flavor.
Double dairy.
Right? Double dairy. Double dairy. And that's key in this. And what we're left with after we let that simmer almost by half and reduce is this really concentrated, beautiful flavor. Now we can kind of bump up the liquidity of it, if you will, with extra heavy whipping cream. And we're gonna flavor that with just a little bit. I got it on low. Right now, I'm gonna drop that fresh fettuccine. This is when you wanna go to that refrigerated section. Get the good stuff. It really does need that fresh, eggy pasta to make it a meal.
Weeknight dinner that feels really special.
Exactly.
I like
And
how you
indulgent.
say eggs.
Eggs. I know. I gotta stop that.
This is a great pasta, actually. We've done this in a lot of my restaurants. It's easy to do tableside.
Yeah, right?
It comes together really
it's so
quick.
like, oh my God, that looks good. And every Instagrammer has seen this done either in a big vat of Parmesan or on the plate.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great.
We reduced it a little bit. I'm gonna add a little bit more cream just to kind of loosen it up. Because this is another problem with this dish. If you've ever ordered it,
Yeah.
it goes from the kitchen to the table and it congeals like in that
It can get
moment.
gloppy. It can get gloppy.
I'm just gonna get a little nutmeg,
Okay.
right? Just a little bit, right? Almost got that bechamel vibe. Little stir. We can taste it, but you don't want this too thick, right? You don't want it too thin, but the starchy pasta water's gonna help thicken it even more. What I'm gonna do now is take my ladle.
I also like this sauce with the tortellini.
Yes.
Like throw in some peas.
So good.
Yeah.
What?
This is Geoffrey's meal here, right here. We're gonna take some of that hot, boiling pasta water and warm up our bowls right before service
I was like,
because
what are you doing?
what this does is help. It's an anti-congealing of effort here,
That's
right?
a good tip.
Well,
And it warms the bowls and it'll
fast,
keep
you don't
it
have to worry about
creamier longer. And what this is doing is just kind of taking on that heat. No need to microwave them or put them in the oven. We got enough. Minute right there. Cheese. Booms.
in there.
Right in there. Let's test our pasta here. See how we're
done.
doing.
Yeah,
Dude,
right?
that's a beauty. This is not your mama's dried pasta. It goes from
How dare you?
done.
Treat
Yo,
yourself
mama.
to some fresh pasta, right?
Oh,
Yeah, fresh pasta. I mean,
unbelievable. All right.
might as well.
Before I start mixing all that cheese in, I'm just gonna get this going. Katie, can you please
Start dumping, yep.
start dumping?
Thought you'd never ask.
I love it too because you can go a little bit light on the cooking of the pasta and just let it sit in the sauce. And just come in.
You get all that starchy water if you need it to get too thick, right? Just throw a little of it in there. It's basic, but it's the way you cook pasta.
Yeah.
It's just the way you do it.
Now you see, right? You're like, that's too loose for Alfredo. Take it off the heat, put it in a bowl, and it's gonna tighten up very quickly. Here we go. Look at that, right? Ready to go. It's steaming. It's smoking.
Do you want me to cheese while you plate?
Please do, Katie. Look at
that. I see little.
Time is of essence right now, guys.
Are those
There's an old
nutmeg
saying,
flecks?
you always want to have
Or
your
is that
guests.
Pepper and nutmeg flecks.
Your guests wait for the pasta. The pasta doesn't wait for your guest.
That's right, Jeff. Cheesy. That's right.
So you are sitting down at the table waiting for, like we are.
Let's go. Don't
Getting the perfect
give her
bite
this
going.
one.
Look at that.
My sophisticated bite. Way smaller than my at-home bite.
Okay, Jeff.
You know, it's really, we watch you make this dish with all the cream, but it's actually the nutmeg and the Parmesan cheese and the pepper that really brings it to life. The Parmesan cheese is almost tangy. It's almost nutty and tangy here. This tastes exactly how I want it to taste. And you know what? We have a big expectation for a simple dish like this. This just delivers.
It's like if mac and cheese put a tuxedo on.
This is the best fettuccine Alfredo I've ever had.
This recipe is so good. It is so very simple. Now, I've been breaking up some cauliflower into tiny florets, and I have a little bit of oil in a nonstick skillet. And I'll just throw it all into a pan. Get it in there and get the sizzling process going. Now I also minced up some garlic for flavor, and it goes right in. I'll just stir it around. I want this to cook in a small amount of time, but get some good flavor on the outside of the cauliflower. I'm gonna let that keep going, and I'll slice up some green onions. I've just got a couple here. I'm gonna slice them real fast. This recipe doesn't even make it to 16 minutes. It's really that quick. And I'm gonna go in with these and get them going in the skillet. Okay, the cauliflower is definitely getting there. It's already got some nice dark edges. Now, soy sauce makes this extra delicious, so I'll add about 2 tablespoons. I'll just cut a lime in half, squeeze it right in, nice and tangy. Okay, now because I always think a little spice is nice, I'll add some sriracha. You can use any hot sauce you want. And then I'll just stir it around long enough for it to totally coat the cauliflower. It is done. I'm gonna get it into a bowl because it smells so good, I can hardly contain myself. I love light stir fries like this, which means you can just pile it high in the bowl. Ooh, delicious. Now I'll sprinkle on some more green onions, and then I like to squeeze on a little extra lime juice, put the lime wedge right on the bowl. Now seriously, how long did that take? How cool is that?
Baked coconut chicken tender with a spicy mango dip.
I'm ready.
Right? So easy and healthy. And we're starting with these beautiful chicken tenders. They come in the packs. And if you can't find just the packs of the tenders, cut your breast into strips, right?
Yeah,
like this.
you can make
Sonny, if you don't mind, just kind of hit this with a little salt and pepper on there. What's gonna make this healthy? A, we're not deep frying it. No. And we're gonna use, instead of a lot of, just kind of refined flours and breadcrumbs, we're gonna use a couple swaps here, starting with coconut flour. This is gonna start our Feb station, which is our standard breading station, flour, egg, breadcrumbs. So, Sonny, once you do it, you can help me kind of start dredging it in there. Here I have a little bit of egg.
That's gluten-free too, Jeff, coconut
What
flour.
is? Yes, very much so. And then we got just a little bit of light coconut milk, just to help kind of enhance that coconut flavor, right? Because these are coconut chicken tenders. And this is
Layers
kind
of flavor.
Layers of flavors, but this is where this recipe was inspired by. That my son loves chicken fingers, chicken tenders, whatever you want to call them, right? They get them on, they're on every kid's menu in the world. Here's a picture of him in Africa.
What?
Where it wasn't even on. That's a stack of cassava fries and some coconut chicken tenders.
I love to go to a meal with a child so I can
they're
steal
so
their
delicious.
chicken fingers, I'll be honest, yeah.
All right, so in here, some whole wheat breadcrumbs, some whole wheat panko they make now, it's great, and some desiccated coconut.
Ooh.
Okay, so this is crunchier. It's like, it's easier to bread with desiccated coconut. It doesn't get all sugary and caramelized in there, but it gives you a nice crunch and texture. Salt and pepper, right? We're gonna mix this all together. Sonny, beautiful.
Got my hands in there because
Look
sometimes
at you,
that's
you
what
don't
you gotta
mess.
do.
Wow,
Yeah.
Sonny.
Great. Little olive oil spray so it doesn't stick. We'll use that again in a second. Then we'll go, right, as you would. We got our flour, egg, breadcrumb, but instead we got coconut flour, egg, a little coconut milk, and that desiccated coconut and whole wheat panko, which is...
Sounds good.
Right? Pretty good. And coconut has a lot of great fats in it as well. So you're getting kind of double duty and, fiber in those whole wheat breadcrumbs. And right into there, so easy. We're just gonna kind of, do the little shake it off. And start layering just like that. How easy is that? You can do
Super
12. This is
simple.
12 of them. You can do as many as you got.
You can freeze at
Kids,
this moment right here.
Totally. Pull it out.
Jeff, it's such a good method that you're using the wire rack on top of the baking sheet. That's how you get that fried effect. then.
Exactly.
All the super crispy.
Beautiful. Sonny, if you want to keep going with me, I'm going to make our dipping sauce because every great chicken finger needs a dipping sauce. Right now, we're going to make a nice, kind of healthy, fun dipping sauce, starting with a little mango chutney you get in the jar, right? You got those flavors of the coconut pair well with the sweetness of the mango, and a little yogurt, whole fat Greek yogurt in there, and a little diced up jalapeno. We remove the seeds and the ribs. If your kids do not like any spice, please omit this, but it's a good way just to get that flavor without, blowing the top off of their, palate here. And that's it, just a nice, quick thing, and you got the capsaicin and the jalapeno, which does boost the immune system.
And metabolism.
And metabolisms, here we go. So we got that nice, fresh mango dipping sauce. I'll put that in there. I got my oven nice high, 400 degrees, because we want that convection in there. We want that heat to help mimic the fry. All right, that's good. Yeah, you just keep doing that.
I'll freeze these.
All right, you freeze them. Beautiful. But remember to spray your sheet, and before we put them in the oven, I'm gonna give them another hit of that olive oil spray. Sarah loves using this stuff when roasting vegetables. We roast a ton of vegetables on Sunday or Monday. But this way, you're kind of helping it crisp up and get golden brown in the oven. I got one ready to go. I'm gonna reserve a little bit of this for the adults, and I'll show you why in a second. Beautiful. Thank you, Sonny. Here we go. And after about 18 to 20 minutes, this is what we're looking like. Look at this. I did 2 for you guys.
Oh, good, because we're going to eat a lot of these.
Oh, those look great.
Look at that, huh? Look at that.
Oh, come on.
Yes.
But I made a nice big salad for us, too. So you can turn this kind of kids meal into an adult meal. You get a little fortification from some fresh veggies. So,
oh, very smart.
Beautiful. So then I'm just going to put these on here. And then we got these chicken fingers, coconut. Put them right on top of that salad. I got some cabbage I love on salad. Just look at that beautiful color. Some fresh carrots, fresh tomatoes on iceberg. And now I'm gonna take this and add a little apple cider vinegar to it. And voila, you got yourself a quick little dressing made from that. All right, Sonny, do you want the salad or do you want just the chicken fingers? I'll give you just the chicken fingers and a little bit of dip.
Salad's a second course for Sonny.
It's like a trick question.
Focuses.
You set me up for failure there no matter what.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Get into this.
All right.
I'll have a finger.
Yeah, I was going
see?
to just take it.
Did ginger happen somewhere?
Nope, it's probably in the chutney
chutney.
already, which is already, and if you guys don't know, chutney's like, very close to the fruit, closest to the fruit, as far as jams and jellies and all that. Nice chutneys. A little fresh ginger.
I love
there,
this.
Mango.
Take note of the temperature and the cook time on this because these are perfectly juicy. Plus, when you put it on the rack here, it just allows that 360 degrees of like cooking and toastiness. And I mean, who doesn't? I love a coconut dusted anything like the shrimp or the chicken tenders.
The guys have been working calves all morning and they're wrapping up things now. They're coming up here for a big lunch and I've got almost everything ready. I'm gonna move on to the very last thing, simple pan-fried pork chops. These things are so wonderful, not just because they're easy, but because the guys absolutely inhale them. And I've got them all salted and peppered. Cowboys love lots of black pepper. Now all I'm gonna do is dredge these in a really simple flour mixture. And that starts with about 4 cups of flour, quite a bit of salt, and lots of black pepper. And then I like to throw a little seasoned salt in there just for a little bit extra flavor. And because the Cowboys can definitely handle it, a little cayenne, just to keep them on their toes. All right, now I'll just grab a couple pork chops and throw them in. Make sure they're nice and coated, and that's as complicated as it gets. All right, I got 2 coated. Now I gotta hurry up and get the rest of these done. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and start frying them up. I've got a big skillet with a mix of canola oil and butter. Now these are just gonna go for about 2 minutes per side until they're nice and golden and crisp. These are looking good, so they're ready to turn. It's funny because the guys are cattle ranchers, how much they love pork chops, but they really are favorites of all the guys. And the girls too. These look nice and golden brown, so I'll get these out. Now I'm gonna fry up the rest of these.
You want some water rice? Yeah.
Potatoes are good.
How many calves did you guys work this morning?
145.
I think the littlest got kind of chilly.
Yeah, it was chilly.
It was cold.
So then every Friday we'll have your horse saddled and ready to go.
Okay.
Those potatoes and the green beans or something else. Now they're good.
Oh, Papa.
Amazing. Drunken cucumber noodles, which are a vegetable-centric version of the classic Thai dish that's dark and caramelly and loaded with fresh crunch. To get started, I'm spiralizing a cucumber. I'm turning it into noodles. And you can get one of these contraptions online, or you can slice a cucumber into thin coins. Look at this big old pile of noodles. I'll get these into my bowl, and into my pan, I'll add a drizzle of oil, and I'll add my onions and pepper. I have one chopped onion here, and a chopped orange pepper. I'll stir these around and let them cook until the onions are translucent. It's already starting to smell good. Next, I'll add my garlic. I'll add a ½ pound of ground chicken right to the pan, and then I'll cook it, breaking it up with a spoon so that it can be bite-sized pieces and get browned all over. While this continues to cook, I'll make my drunken sauce. This sauce is sweet and a little funky, and it has a slight touch of heat. It has it all. Start with 2 tablespoons of soy sauce and whisk it with a ½ teaspoon of cornstarch to thicken it up. 2 tablespoons of hoisin sauce and a tablespoon of fish sauce for a savory touch. A tablespoon of chili paste for a little heat and 1½ teaspoons of sesame oil. I'll whisk this together. And I can hear my pan singing over there. I'm gonna dump this right in. I'll stir this all together to coat the chicken and the veggies. And I'll grab my tomatoes and scallion. These tomatoes will add their signature burstiness, and then I'll slice up my scallion. And I'll add this as well. This dish has a lot of personality, just like my dad, and it really comes out when he performs. This is looking great. I'm gonna add it to my cucumber noodles. I'll toss this all together. Oh yeah, look at all these bright colors. It's so vibrant. Let me grab my serving bowl and a lime, and I'll put it all together. I'll finish this with some lime juice and fresh basil. The lime will add great brightness. And some fresh basil, which will be really tasty. And that's it. Let me taste. So flavorful with a nice crunch from the cucumbers. This is gonna be the perfect contrast to the buns.
Oh, there's a long one. Look at that. Long noodles, long life.
Uh-oh.
Oh my gosh.
Man, you're gonna live.
You're gonna live a really long time.
I've got 2 pounds of shrimp, and I threw them into this big skillet with a little oil and butter. Now, I've got the heat on high, and that's part of what makes this meal so quick. Everything cooks really, really fast. Okay, I'll let the shrimp go for a little bit, and then I'll dice up some veggies. I've got 2 zucchini, and I'll just lop off the sides, cut them in half, cut them into quarters, and then I'm just gonna dice them up. Okay, now I'm gonna give the shrimp another little stir. I wanna make sure they keep cooking evenly. Shrimp is perfect for quick meals because it cooks really fast, and it's one of those great things to keep in the freezer. Definitely a staple. Okay, now I'm gonna throw in a little garlic. Adds big flavor. Stir that around. Okay, now I've got some fresh corn, and it's raw. I'm just gonna cut it right off the cob. I'm gonna hope it stays on the cutting board and doesn't go all over the floor. I love using fresh corn. It's really crunchy. Okay, I'm gonna check the shrimp again. Okay, they are looking perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and take them out of the pan because I don't want them to get too tough, too chewy. Shrimp are best when they're just barely cooked through. Okay, now I'm gonna put a little more oil and butter in the skillet. Get that stirred around. Now I'm gonna add everything in stages. The first thing I'll throw in is the zucchini. It'll take just a little bit longer to cook than the other veggies. The secret here is just to stir it around, let it cook for about 45 seconds to a minute, not very long at all. The key here is to put the tougher vegetables in first because they need a little bit longer to cook. great. So now I'm not gonna take it out of the pan. I'm just gonna scoot it out to the outer edges of the pan. And then I'll grab the corn and throw it right in the center. I really am throwing corn everywhere. There will be aftermath. Okay, now I'll just kind of stir this around, let it start to cook in the center. Okay, this would be a really good time to salt and pepper everything. The corn doesn't need too long at all. The point is not to cook the corn all the way through. I just want to get it warm, basically. I like it to be really crunchy. That's enough time. So now I'll scoop the corn out of the center of the pan. And then I have about a cup each of red and yellow grape tomatoes, and I just cut them in half. And I'll throw these in the center. And I don't want to cook these at all. Again, I just want to warm them up. And then the shrimp goes back in, and I get all the juices from the pan. That's flavor right there. Stir that around. And then honestly, what totally makes this dish is lemon juice. I'll just squeeze a whole lemon all over the top, let it kind of sizzle in there with the butter and oil, and it just creates this delicious flavor. It makes it really fresh. And then the basil goes in. And then another thing I love to add is a cup of Parmesan shavings. I'll just throw it right in. And then give it a toss. Dinner is done. I have to say, I think that was a little less than 10 minutes.
For years and years and years, every time Geoffrey came home on Friday night, I would make roast chicken. And then one day I thought, I've got to be a little more creative than this. I want the house to smell great. And of course, I want to make chicken. So each time I challenge myself to make something new. I'm making chicken piccata, which is wonderful. I'm going to start with 2 chicken breasts. I'm going to do a coating for them. So they're sauteed in a lemon and butter sauce, which is so good. So the first thing I need is half a cup of flour, just all-purpose flour. Half a teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. I'm just going to mix that all together. So that's the first part of the coating. And this can be dipped into 1 egg. Just mixed with a little touch of water. Just beat it all together. The next part of the coating is breadcrumbs. I use seasoned breadcrumbs, about 3/4 cup. Okay, I'm just gonna heat a little oil in the pan. Just a few tablespoons. And while that gets hot, I'm gonna take the chicken breasts and pound them out until they get really thin. Sort of even. Chicken breasts, they're sort of thicker parts and the thinner and other parts, and this way they cook more evenly and they cook really quickly. Rolling pin's a good basher. Some people have meat pounding things, but everybody has a rolling pin. I like them between 1/4 and 1/2 inch thick. And just do it in 2 directions so it ends up smooth, doesn't end up in ridges. Okay. So the first one goes into the flour. And just make sure it's coated all over. And shake off the excess into the eggs. The flour dries it out, and then the eggs make it so that the breadcrumbs will adhere. And then the breadcrumbs. Seasoned dried breadcrumbs. And right into the pan. Perfect. Just 2 minutes on each side until it's golden brown. Okay, that guy's done. Perfect. Now the next one. A little oil. Right into the pan. 2 minutes on each side. I wonder if this is going to replace Geoffrey's favorite roast chicken for Friday night chicken dinner. Oh, perfectly done. Okay, I'm gonna put this on a sheet pan. Keep it warm in the oven, 400 degrees for about 10 minutes, right alongside the red onions. And then I'm gonna make a nice lemon butter sauce to go with it. Oh, I think perfect timing. I think I just heard Geoffrey. The weekend starts now. The red onions are roasting in the oven. The buttermilk mashed potatoes are done, and now I just have to make the sauce for the chicken piccata. So the first thing I'm gonna do is just wipe out the pan that I cooked the chicken in. And I'm just gonna heat up a tablespoon of butter. So the chicken is warm in the oven, just keeping it warm in the oven while I just make a nice sauce for it. Okay, now I need a third of a cup of freshly squeezed lemon juice. It's probably 2 lemons. Just gonna pour it right into the butter. Okay, now half a cup of white wine. Really nice dry white wine. Something I drink for dinner. Okay. Half a teaspoon of salt. Quarter of a teaspoon of pepper. And this is what I'm gonna do with the lemon shells. I'm gonna put them right in the sauce so you get the flavor of the zest. Just cooks together. So I'm just gonna reduce this by half. It'll take about 2 minutes while I chop up some parsley and some sliced lemons to put on the chicken. Now this looks perfect. Okay, now I'm gonna take the lemon out. It's actually surprising. The oil in the zest really does flavor the sauce. Sweetie, dinner's ready. It's Friday night. So the onions, I have a little bit of vinaigrette left over from the marinating, which I always love to put on at the end. Just toss them all together. Oh, these look so good. That's gonna be wonderful. Okay, and then the chicken. Some of the piccata sauce. That looks pretty good. Some slices of lemon, so Geoffrey knows it's lemon piccata. A little bit of parsley. These roasted onions smell so good. I love the way they look. Who doesn't love mashed potatoes and buttermilk mashed potatoes? Oh, your timing is perfect as always. Guess what's for dinner?
Well, let's see. It's Friday. Chicken, but what kind of chicken?
It's chicken piccata.
Ooh, that
and
looks
it's ready.
Great. Let me tell you how good this chicken is.
Is it up there with the roast chicken?
You know, I used to think that roast chicken was the only thing I could have on Friday night. But this chicken piccata, this is just as good.